All right, I think we're live. Alrighty. All right, I'm gonna go over my day trading strategy. Some people care, some people don't, but I'm gonna do it anyways. All right, I use fuck, sorry. I use MACD, I use RSI, and I use a volume bar. And what I do is I go off of pre-market gappers. So obviously the stock was kind of stuck at 3.2. Then news came out and blew the stock up. Usually this happens to low float stocks. If you look down here, float is 42.9 million and volume is 244 million. So when the volume is so much larger than the float, you have a stock that has room to run like this. Another one that I played today was COCP. I think it went for, so this is my entry down here. Went all the way up to here, mapped out pretty perfectly. Went for about 112%. I think I sold where this yellow line is. This was my exit. So I think I only locked in about 3 grand from it. It's about a 30% trade. I usually trade 10 grand per trade just because it's easier numbers to determine what you're getting. So I know 32% is $3,200. Um, and then I also scalped it again right here, this range up to about there, right before that sell-off happened. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over this. I'm just going to go over BLRX. But what I wanted to show you was, if you look here, float was 53 million or 51 million. Volume was 600. I'm looking down here on this down here. Volume was 634 million. So your volume compared to your float is just insane. So obviously it's not going to take much for the stock to absolutely run like it did today. So we're going to go over this one. So first thing I do in the morning is I'll go to my screener. BLRX had the highest gainer, and then that COCP, the one that I just showed you. That I usually play the first two. BLRX went 53% and COCP was 33%. My scanner 7% to 150% pre-market change, and anywhere from 750,000 to 50 million volume. Pretty simple, pretty basic scanner. Just reads everything that jumps in the morning. All right, let me see how I can full screen this thing. Sorry. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. So I just showed you my screener. So the first thing that we're gonna do is, how do I replay mode? Jump to. There we are. All right. So I usually chart around 9:15. So this right here is exactly what I see in the morning, just completely blank. So first thing I'm gonna do, find your support ranges. Support range right here. Got a consolidation, bounce off support, and hit support right there. So that is around 493-ish. Probably bring that up just a little bit. Call it 496. Bounce off this support candle. That's why I like that a little bit better. So we're gonna call that 493. Another support line right here. Let's call 432. And another support right there at 465. All right, now you find your support. Now you find your resistance. This is a clear resistance. 1, 2, 3. Let's call that 573. Alrighty, 573. Next, I mean, I guess you could call this support. I mean resistance at 534. But it really only hits it once. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I usually like to at least see it hit 3 times. So one here, and one here. So we only have one support line or one resistance line, which I don't really like playing. So we're gonna run out to the daily chart, and we'll find. Wait, hold on. One day. That's not it. How do I do this stuff in? Let me get out of this. There we go. All right, go to the daily. All right, now full screen. All right, here we go. So I'm on the daily chart. So instead of each one of these candles being 1 minute time frame, each one of these candles is per day. So obviously we're not going to be able to find any resistance lines on over here because we know that the stock is up here. So we're going to have to go to where we find. So right here. So right here is a good one. So we'll call this 646. And I like, let's say 611. Picked up this top wick of this candle and picked up the close of this candle. I guess this is the high rather than the close. All right, so we found our 3 resistance points. So we got 646, 611, and 573. So let's get out of here. Let's go back to the 1 minute chart. This is what we're gonna run. This is what I use 1 minute. All right, let me get full screen. All right, here we go. All right, so we found everything. And then lastly, what I like to do is find MACD crosses. MACD crosses kind of show you that your resistance lines and support lines are, kind of correct and that they're actually true. So if you look down here, this is your MACD. This is super important to learn. You're not going to, if you want to be a successful trader, you need to learn the MACD. It basically reads momentum, but every time it crosses right here, see this blue line and this orange line, that's where I'm going to highlight. Shit. Cross right here and cross right here and cross right here. Okay, so you got a cross right here around 504. Okay, so we know that that's pretty close to our support range. You got a cross right here at 554. That's pretty close to our resistance range, I would think. You got another cross right here around that same area. You got a cross right here around your 5 area. The same thing as the first one. And you got another cross right here down exactly your 496 range and another cross right here at your 496 range. So we know that 496, to 5 range is a super, super, super solid support. Did not mean to do that. All right, so I like to play ranges because to me it's a little bit easier. Just to pick a range rather than just picking an exact bottom or top, which you're just not going to be able to do. All right, so we're going to run this to this. So that is going to be our take profit. And up here is going to be our final take profit. I usually run let 25 shares run to there. Alrighty. So let's play it out. So I'll pause it right here. Okay. So market opens right here, right where it turns from brown to blue. So market opens, it fills our order at 496. That's where I run my order at, right on the top of that range, 496. It fills. and it takes off. So comes up here to our first take profit range. I usually take profit. Usually take a little bit right here, but this candle just blew right through that resistance range. So I took profit about right here on the close of that candle. So I took profit at 586. I took about 50 shares or 50% of my shares. And my final take profit, where I took the rest of my shares, was right here. Right here. So 610. So I took 50% at 587 and I took the rest at 613. To me, this 646 range was a little high and the momentum just really wasn't there in the upside favor. So most of the time since I've been doing these pre-market gainers for, a while now, I know that, it's always going to retrace back. So we're always going to get another chance to add back into it if we really need to. But I was happy with, I think it was about 25%. So I think it was about like 2,500 bucks. So I mean, I was super happy with that. So yeah, I took 50% here at 16%, and I took the rest at 23%. So yeah, it was close to a 3 or 2 grand trade. I was super happy with that. And I'll show you what I did furthermore to kind of like make more money off this trade. So if you just want to do this strategy and do exactly what I told you and walk away with 2 grand and close your computer by 10 o'clock and go enjoy your day, that's 100% okay. 99% of the time, that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to just, be done trading because 99% of the time you're going to lose your money. But to me, I saw a lot of potential with this trade just using the lines that we planned out in the pre-market. So I will analyze this a little bit more for you. So it comes up to exactly to our take profit area that we found on the daily chart and sells off. Sells off, kind of tests back to VWAP. This line right here is VWAP, comes back up and completely falls off. So this right here is one person just unloading probably millions of shares. So you got to be really careful if, let's say you don't take, let me get rid of this. Let's say you don't take profit, right? And you go up, you go up, you go up, you go up, and you're like, oh, damn, I want more. I want this 646 range. Well, it doesn't get 646 range and it sells off. So it's like, okay, I'm going to not sell. I'm going to watch it go back down. All right, cool, 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 cool. We're going back up. We're going back up. One person sells and you catch a falling knife back to your entry. You know what I mean? You had this perfect entry. It ran up 23%, and then you decide to hold it. I mean, that you got to take profit in this range. This range is a take profit range because you know it's going to sell off. So it comes back down. I do not get back in. I just kind of let it do its thing. Falls back below our entry range, and right here was our middle support. That's 465. So I place an order right here, 465. Stop loss is 430, right below our last support, and take profit is going to be at 460. I think I actually said it at 5, so we'll put it take profit at 5. So I placed my order right here. I'm expecting it to consolidate right here and just completely bounce. Unfortunately, it didn't. But again, our stop loss is at 432, so there's really not an issue. You know what I mean? If you're gonna freak out and sell it, then you're wrong because it hasn't broken support. If you're still holding on to it while it's at 418, all right, maybe you should get rid of it. But if it's not, you got to respect your stop losses. So if it's not going to hit your stop loss, and hold on to it. So I entered here expecting a push, sold off a little bit, sold off a little bit. I was like, oh damn, okay, it's gonna hit my stop loss, no worries. And then it finally gained momentum and did exactly what I wanted it to do. Ran to that $5 mark, and I sold it from right here. So that's about a. Let me get out of this. Here to here. It's about a shit. It's about an 8% trade. So I mean that's $800 right there, just playing from the zones that we marked out from the pre-market. So it's super important to keep these zones handy because like it's not just going to hit that zone in the pre-market and then as soon as the market opens you're going to play it and then the zones are going to be worthless. You know what I mean? These are super solid support and resistance zones, MACD crosses, confirmation. So it's really important to keep these on your charts so then you can also do multiple trades. So we'll play this out. Just kind of just to show you more examples. All right, comes up here. I was out right here. But I mean, if you really wanted to, you could play from here back up to your take profit. Comes back down, sells off, reaches your original entry. You can enter again, right back up to your take profit. So I mean, there's potential for what's this? So, right, like we said, this was 25%, 23%. So you do it 1, 2, 3. So what's that? 69% profit. 69% profit just scalping this 3 times throughout the day. I mean, and to keep in mind, the market looked like this today. Just sell off. Sell off after sell off after sell off. This is SPY. SPY was down about over 1%. So, and for SPY to be down 1% on the day, that's a lot. I mean, it recovered at the end of the day, but for SPY to be selling off like that, and we have stocks going 100% or the 60% that we just showed or the 23% we just showed. I mean, this strategy works when the market is green or red. That's pretty much it. This is pretty much the exact same thing. I mean, I'll be here all day if I explain this to you, but support and resistance,